Hey friends, welcome back to another day with another amazing soup. Today we are going to look at how to make an awesome butternut squash soup. So this is a butternut squash, and you could use any other squash or pumpkin in this place if you do not have access to butternut squash. But butternut squash has a sweet flavor, which I think is somewhat similar to pumpkin. So a good substitution for butternut squash in this soup would be pumpkin. So without further ado, let's go see what else we need to make this amazing soup. As you can see, I have a baking sheet here, which means we're going to oven roast everything, and which also means that the first step towards this soup is to get your oven ready at 425 Fahrenheit or 210 degrees Celsius preheating. The star of the soup is of course butternut squash. It's very difficult to cut this, and I don't really like cutting them in cubes and roasting. I would rather roast it in full and then cut it when it's softer to cut. What I've done is to take out the seeds and all the fuzzy part that attaches the seed to the fruit, and then I've scored this butternut squash so that there is more opportunity for the oil and the salt to go in as well as the heat. What I've also done is to chop off the base so that it stays firm while it's roasting and it's not wobbling around. So I've taken 2 halves of the same butternut squash, and then I'm going to take about a cup of carrots. I've used baby cut carrots. You could just buy regular carrots and cut them, but I'm lazy. A knob of ginger. I'm going to peel them later. Any oil of your choice. Salt, pepper, and then finally to garnish, I have 1 tablespoon each of my favorite nuts and raisins. This is pecan, and then that is raisins, as you can see, and I'm going to fry them in some good quality coconut oil to top it off. So that gives an awesome flavor. I generally like frying the nuts in some kind of fat rather than toasting it in the oven. So quickly, let's go see what we need to do. Because we haven't cut the squash into cubes, it's going to take more time to roast than the carrots. So I'm going to start roasting the squash first and then add in the carrot halfway through the cook. This is going to take about 40 to 45 minutes to roast. So I have the squash here. I haven't lined it this time because these are not tomatoes and they're not going to leak and burn. And I'm going to generously douse this with oil, about 1 tablespoon on each side, which is not too much, by the way. And then I'm going to rub it in. Cut side on top, well oiled. Now I'm going to sprinkle some salt. Actually, I'm going to be generous with the sprinkling. And then pepper, of course. Now this is going to go into a 425 degree Fahrenheit or a 210 degrees Celsius oven to roast for about 20 minutes, and then will be joined by carrots. So now the squash is cooking, and I'm going to coat these carrots with some salt, pepper, and oil and keep that ready. It's just about half a tablespoon of oil, some salt, and then some pepper. There you go. I'm also going to peel this ginger and then smash it. The ginger is now peeled. Now you have 2 options. You could either smash it with the knife blade, or you can grate the ginger and add it in. We're not going to cook the ginger in the oven. Rather, we're going to add it at the end and then warm it up. So I'm not going to do the grating right now, but I will do it just before we blend everything together. Good. Time to add these carrots in. Wear protective gear. Okay, I'm going to set the timer for another 15 minutes. That's for the carrots. Then lay down these pads so I can put the hot stuff on there. Okay, timer. Stop. Ooh, tender and delicious. Now this guy is soft enough so I can scoop it out and blend it. But I'm gonna give it 5 minutes to cool down slightly so I could at least touch and do the scooping and peeling. It's been about 5 minutes and these guys are warm to touch so I can handle them without any issues. I'm gonna add all of the carrots and scoop out all of the squash into my blender and then blend it into a thick paste. There, that is all of it. And I'm going to add the ginger that I have grated, all of it into it with the juices in. And now I'm going to make a thick paste and add just water to blend it. I'm not going to add any stock because I want to taste the butternut squash. Okay, that is all done. Ooh, look how creamy that is. Right, I'm gonna add all of this into Mr. Pot. Now I'm gonna add water of about half a cup to the blender and then rinse it into the pot. Give it a mixy mix. It's still pretty thick, and at this point you can add more water, half a cup to 1 cup. At this point you could dilute it with either water or unsweetened, unflavored soy milk or any milk of your choice. Please don't add any coconut milk, that will take over the flavor. Today I'm just going to use plain old water. Another half a cup. To me, that is good consistency. Some people prefer it even thicker, but that is up to you. Now let's go to the stove, warm it up gently, and then adjust the salt and pepper, as usual. Now I'm going to turn up the heat to medium-high, and I'm going to taste it. That's good, but it needs a little bit more salt for me. I proceed to adding more salt. Give it a mixy mix and then taste again. That tastes amazing. Now I'm going to let it warm up until there's gentle boiling and then switch it off. In the meantime, I've heated about a tablespoon of good quality coconut oil, and then I have fried the nuts and the raisins until the raisins turn plump and the nuts are toasted. That smells really good. I'm going to switch this off, and I also see that the soup on the side, which I'm stirring right now, has started to bubble, so everything is ready to plate. Off the stove and let's go. Incoming! Okay, another incoming! Now I'm going to ladle half of the soup into it, which is 1 portion, and save the rest, and half of my garnish onto it, which will give it some crisp and some chewy and some sweet goodness. Let's go ladle this in. There we go. This one to the side. Mix the garnish well, and then add half of it into it. Ooh, that smells so good and looks so delicious. As usual, some greenery to make this photogenic, so I'm going to add just a coriander leaf. And that's it, the soup is done. This is my soup. Yet again, I'm going to taunt you with it until you make it for yourself. But now, I'm going to shut the camera off, go sit, and then eat this entire bowl of soup. Until next time then, bye-bye.